Drop it in. Yeah, let me zoom in on that. Oh man, okay.
You can hear how gritty that is too.
Yeah.
Cycle that a few times. Oh God, yeah.
Okay.
All right, 10 rounds, go for it. All right, guys, what's going on? My name's Matt. This is Daniel. He's back from the Air Force. I know you guys have been asking where he's been, and he's finally back today.
5 months later.
5 months later. So we're going to be doing something a little bit different today that I've not seen too much on YouTube, but I've been really curious about this. Is we're actually going to be doing an EliteForce 1911 reliability test. Now, why would we want to be doing a reliability test? Well, for starters, when you have a gun and you play in harsh conditions like we do, say at like DV8 or TAC in Lakeland, or even this new field that's opened up called Wasteland Ops, there's a whole bunch of different things that this gun can get into, like dirt, mud, sand, water, what have you. And if you roll around, or you maybe trip, or you're running with your gun and it falls in the river.
Drop it. I've seen guns go in the river multiple times, and I mean, we got to be prepared to pull it out and fire back.
Exactly. So this test is, we've been using this gun. I think actually the majority of the team has been using the same gun for several years now.
Yeah. And we have at least, what, 4?
We have at least 4.
Now?
Jojo has one, I have one, you have one, a lot of the guys in the team have one. And the reason why we like it so much is because through our personal experience, this gun has been
the most reliable.
It's been really, really reliable. Now there's a number of reasons why that could be. We're going to go into those a little bit later.
One, it's CO2 powered, so it tends to be more reliable in colder conditions or just in harsher conditions because it has more power behind the blowback.
Right.
And then 2, I think it's just built a little bit more robust.
Right. And when you shoot the gun too, it has a lot more kickback, has a lot more blowback, so when it recoils, it really has this ability to blow away all this debris that's holding it back and stuff. But hopefully we can demonstrate that and prove that to you here today, and that's basically the point of this test. Little disclaimer, we are in no way affiliated or sponsored by EliteForce. We just want to show you guys what we think this gun is really capable of on camera.
We always say positive things about this in our reviews and our gameplay.
Yep.
And so we just want to see if it'll stand up to what our word has said.
Yep.
So
we're going to put our money where our mouth is today, guys. So we'll see. We have no idea how this is going to go. We've never done anything like this before. As far as I go, there's not too many people on YouTube that have done this, so hopefully we can even show that to you today.
Okay, so why don't we go over what we're going to do in the test.
So we have we've kind of done the best we can to kind of simulate a scientific experiment to test the reliability of this gun. We have several elements over here on the table. We've got water, dirt, sand, and mud. We're going to be testing the gun in each one of these so-called, we'll just call them elements just for making it sake of making it easier. And we're going to be putting the gun in each element. Between each test, we're actually going to rinse the gun off in water to clear off most of the element.
And then the other test that we're going to do is, since we can't simulate any cold conditions in Florida, we're literally just going to stick this in the freezer.
And we're going to hold there for a really long time.
Yeah.
For those of you who do not know, CO2 guns tend to perform better than green gas guns in colder conditions because of how the cartridges, how the CO2 and cartridge works and everything.
Yeah.
So green gas, essentially, it doesn't expand as well as CO2.
Yeah.
And the CO2 guns tend to last and shoot longer than the green gas guns in colder conditions. Yeah. And also, we don't know if the cold might actually slow the action down or anything like that.
Yeah, so we have to see, we just have to see.
Yep, we're going to test and find out. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into it, guys. Okay. Alright guys, so the first thing we're going to be doing is we're going to be firing 10 shots to the 1911, no mud or anything on it, just to show you guys that the gun is functioning and working, so let's go ahead and do that real quick. Now you guys are probably wondering why I'm wearing a full face mask. The reason for this is, when the gun shoots and it recoils, and when we get sand and mud on the slide, all that gunk is going to come back into my face, so this is basically just an attempt to mitigate as much dirt and stuff getting on my face as possible. So anyway, without further ado though, let's go ahead and get started. 10 shots, just make sure it's working correctly. Okay, we're running a little low on CO2 there, but that's alright because we're going to change out the CO2 cartridge to make sure we have a full powered CO2 cartridge when we go through this test. But even locked back, everything worked well, so the gun is functioning correctly and no problems whatsoever. So let's go ahead and change out this CO2 cartridge and go ahead and start running through the test.
And we're good.
Okay, use CO2 cartridge in there, make sure it's nice and tight.
That's
not going anywhere. Let's go ahead and top this off, some fresh rounds, and get started.
Okay.
So let's go ahead and get started with the test. Now, the one thing I want to mention before we start this test is, number one, the only mods to this gun I have done have been external, so the only upgrades to this gun, in other words, have just been these Magpul 1911 grips. Internally, there's no upgrades whatever, so this is a well and true EliteForce stock 1911. Okay, so we've got 10 rounds loaded in the magazine. We've got a fresh new CO2 cartridge. This is an ATS CO2 cartridge for anyone out there that's wondering, and we are going to be using, I think, Vulcan 2.8 BBs. So I guess there's nothing else left to say. Let's go ahead and get started. So for the first test, we're going to dunk it in water. We're going to submerge it. We're going to let all the bubbles float to the surface. Make sure all the water gets completely in there. Take it out, fire all 10 rounds, and make sure it's functioning.
Okay.
All right.
Let's go.
Now the way we're gonna do this test is we're gonna do it like you would have it in the field. So cocked, locked, round in the chamber. Okay, safety's on, hammer's back, rounds in the chamber.
Drop it in.
We're gonna let all the bubbles come out.
Okay, now just flip it over real quick, just to make sure.
Shake it out.
Okay, I think we're good. Let's pull it out and see what happens. What's that?
Yeah, top view, see how it looks in there. That's pretty cool, actually. This feels so weird. Like, it doesn't feel like you should be doing this.
Intentionally torturing your airsoft gun.
Right. Okay, I think that's good. We're gonna take it out, fire 10 rounds. Ready?
Let's see what happens.
Oh, well, isn't that interesting? So we've got our first malfunction. If you want to check it out, it looks like we didn't cycle all the way. We got one round off, one round fired. However, we got a malfunction on that.
Okay, now my theory on this is that we had water trapped in the barrel.
I agree.
Maybe we should make sure we dump the water out before firing.
Right, so next thing we're going to do, I'm just going to actually do remedial action on this.
Okay.
Okay. Fired. No problems.
Okay.
So we only had an issue in that first round, and I think what Daniel just said is
it's just the gases were being blocked by water in the barrel, so we have to make sure we dump any water out of the barrel.
Right, but once the water kind of got flushed out of the gun, we were good to go. So only one malfunction in that first round. Let's go ahead and top off that mag and keep going.
Okay.
Okay, cocked and locked. And we're just going to do this like we're doing a dirt test.
So this is going to get real nasty. It's already wet. You're going to stick it in dirt.
Hey Dan, why don't you come on the other side, because I don't want to drop it. And we're all safe. We're all wearing iPro and everything, so we're good. So we're just going to go ahead and drop it in.
Okay. Now flip it over once.
Mix it just a little bit. Do it on the other side.
Okay.
Okay.
Let me zoom in on that real quick.
See that?
Yeah, we got it a little bit dirty.
We got some dirt. Looks like it's creeping in there, but I'm going to just shake it off a little bit. Pull it up the target. Got a malfunction. Trigger didn't reset. We're going to do remedial action. Reset. Now lock back. All right.
Okay, so
excellent.
With this one,
I think we're running a little dry on CO2. We'll test it out here in a minute, but it even locked back, so we only had one malfunction. What we're getting some problems here is we're actually getting some dirt and debris into the trigger mechanism there. So the trigger's not resetting all the way, but it actually went through, no problems. I think I only had one malfunction on that.
Yep. So what we'll have to do is we'll just have to wash it off real quick, field strip it and wash it off.
We're gonna go
but yeah, I mean, it did jam for sure.
Yep.
But
not as bad as
with remedial action, it was able to get right back into battery and fire again. What I am concerned about is the dirt actually getting behind the trigger. I feel like that could be the worst thing for the gun, because other than that, all you're really relying on is for it to strike the CO2 and for it to slide on the rails. After the first two tests, we are just going to go ahead and lubricate it real quick, just to make base conditions again for when we go to stick it in the sand and in the mud.
Yep.
And we'll do this as we see necessary.
Yep. I think we should probably just clean it and do it between each test, but it's working fine now. We've got all that mud and crap out of there, dirt, whatever.
Yep.
I guess it's mud now that has some water mixed with it, but... Alright. So I think we should probably just fire just a couple of rounds, make sure it's working. We'll just fire 5 real quick, just to show you guys that it's functioning correctly again. Alright, so we're just going to go and shoot 5 more rounds, make sure it's functioning. Good.
Yep, we always want to have an accurate test, so we're going to do a full CO2 cartridge on each run, just to make sure that a lack of CO2 isn't inhibiting the firing of the handgun.
Exactly.
You might ask, why would we waste a whole bunch of CO2s just for one video? It's because we love you guys.
Because we love you guys.
And we're willing to sacrifice our hard-earned money on buying lots of CO2 cartridges.
Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and load 10 rounds, and then we'll do the same test, but this time in the sand. Okay, into the sand. Here we go.
So I know that hurts.
That hurts. Oh, no. Ooh, that's brutal.
Yeah, let me zoom in on that. Oh, man. Okay. Let's pull it on out.
We got a whole bunch in there.
Ooh, that does not look good.
We got some ingress here on the sides.
Maybe we'll just hope that this stuff comes out when you shake it,
Right.
but there is no promise.
We're just gonna shake it off a little bit, as if you just pick it up and you're like, oh crap, there's a bad guy right there. All right, here we go. Oh, we got that same problem.
The trigger?
Trigger. We're gonna try remedial action. Okay, reset. Function. Uh-oh. The
Ooh.
sand's running hard.
The sand is not liking this.
Right,
Yeah.
so we're in battery. That worked. It's functioning. Cock that.
Yeah, it's a single action.
It's a single action. That function. Oh wait. Hey.
And it looks like some of that
there we go.
sand got cleared out of there.
Yep. So it's running. The trigger's kind of a little dead. Oh, that didn't go all the way. Do remedial action on that. Oh, we're out.
We're out. Okay.
Okay. So the sand
Really
did a number on
didn't
that.
like it. Yeah.
That was bad. Okay. So if you want to take a look at that, we got all this dirt getting on the inside. If you can get a close up on that, we got all that sand on the barrel right there.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Got a whole bunch of sand ingress there. I'm noticing the big problem right here right now is the sand's kind of getting behind the trigger mechanism.
In those little crevices and
these tiny little crevices. It's got a whole bunch of crap in there.
yeah. Okay.
All right. So
We're just going to clean it off real quick like we did the last time.
Yep.
And go back to the next test.
Sure.
Okay, so it looks like we have discovered the issue we're having here.
So if you look in here, you notice this is the part that cycles back and forth, and when the gas goes into that, if you look, we've got a whole bunch of dirt. I don't know if you can see the little
Zoom in on
specks.
that real quick.
Specks of sand and stuff. We've got dirt and debris all in that little channel right there. And if you look on the top, you can see it maybe a little better.
Yeah, let me.
And that right there is kind of inhibiting it from moving as effectively as it normally does. We're going to try to clean that out as best we can. We believe we've remedied the problem. We just cleared out all that little dust and all that, all that dirt and sand remaining. So let's go ahead and pop off a few rounds.
We're just going to cycle 3 rounds and make sure it's functioning correctly.
And you notice it sounds a lot better now.
Yes.
You hear that pop, pop, pop. So we believe we fixed the issue. So let's go ahead now with a fully functional gun, even lock back and everything. So let's go ahead and put it in the mud. And I think Daniel wants to do this for some
Yes,
reason.
I want to get the gun all nasty.
Yeah,
so
if
that means me getting muddy, hey, it's the price of pay, right?
I guess so. All right, Dan, you're up. All right, so final test,
Yep.
mud test. We've got 10 rounds loaded up. Are you ready, Daniel?
Yes, I'm ready. Let's
Dunk
put
it.
it through field conditions, hammer locked and cocked.
Oh, God.
It's like the souls of thousands of airsofters
That is
leaving their
brutal.
body.
Now, it's actually interesting. It's not really ingressing that much.
Yeah, it's not really sticking to it a whole lot.
It is a little bit, though. We're not gonna. It is, but as like if you look at the channels,
and this is what I was saying. I think the water is going to help it out a little.
you think
bit.
it's kind of gonna roll off of it a little better.
In a sight picture, yeah, that's never.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. Let's look at that. Yeah, that your sights are gone. You're basically just hip firing at that point. But we're not getting. I'm noticing there's not a whole lot really getting in the crevices right there. It's almost kind of just sliding off of it.
Exactly.
So, but then again, will that stick with the when it starts going off? I have no idea.
No,
So
we'll see. Let's just shake it off real quick.
shake it off a little bit.
Okay.
All right, 10 rounds. Go for it. 1. All right.
Malfunction.
Might did it go into battery?
Action.
All right. Trigger dead.
Fire. Build a fire.
Oh, there it goes.
It goes.
Try and battery again.
You action.
Cycle it. Cycle it again.
Hammer didn't lock back all the way.
Basically got a single shot right now. Nope. So that mud really did a number on it. Oh, there it goes.
And there it goes, and it cycled all the rest of the rounds.
All the rest of the rounds?
Yep. And it didn't fully lock.
It didn't
back all
fully.
the way on the
So I'm not.
last.
That's not quite locked back. So I'm not going to count that as a lock back. But it wasted all the rounds. Yep.
Yep. So it was what, the first probably 5 rounds.
Probably about 5
Did not
rounds.
Cycle all the way through.
So
and
what? Yeah. So once it starts working all the rounds through, then it actually starts running again.
It starts getting the crud out of the crevices, I think, and then it just starts. Then it will start running. I mean that.
You can hear how gritty that is too.
Yeah.
Cycle that a few times. Oh God. Yeah. Yeah. So that mud turns out it did work its way in there. Hey Dan, just for fun, why don't you go ahead and just for fun, just as if, you know, field expedient cleaning kit, go ahead and just rinse it off with the water. I'll load you up another mag and we'll see if it runs. Just by rinsing off in the water, as if, oh look, there's a nice lake right here. Let's go ahead and clean it out.
Just like, well, I mean, had I dropped it in the mud, deviate, I just go to a river.
Yep.
Okay, so.
Just clean it off. I'll go load you a mag while you do that.
Okay. All we didn't field strip it at all. as if we were at DV8, dropped it in the river.
10 more rounds.
Yep.
Force it in the battery.
Yep, force it in the battery.
All right, do it.
And manhandle it a little bit.
Lock, force it into battery, push it into battery. It's just not going into battery. Battery, push it into battery. There you go. Remedial action.
And we're encountering that.
We might be running out of CO2 too, that's also a possibility. Not bad. Not bad at all. Did it run through all the rounds?
And yeah, it did run through all the rounds.
Wow. So not too bad. Once you just rinse that crud out, and it actually started running again.
All I did was I just took the magazine out, dunked it.
All right. So as you guys can obviously tell, if this EliteForce 1911 is introduced to this stuff as harshly as it is, the gun will probably not cycle 100%, but it actually will just run if you just run it you run the action a few times.
Yep.
I honestly thought it might have done a little bit better given what we've kind of experienced with it, but granted, we've never really just kind of put it
purposely exposed it to the elements,
right?
Like we just did, and I'm honestly still impressed. Yes, it did malfunction, but we were able to get shots off.
Yep.
So it's not like it just completely jammed or anything like that. We were able to just...
And nothing catastrophic either. Yeah. Nothing actually prevented this gun from completely firing. I mean, all the problems that you could have with this gun could just easily be remedied by cycling the action a few times.
Yep.
Alright, so unfortunately we can't simulate being in a freezing environment, so
sadly we are not in Siberia for this test.
Sadly we're not in Siberia. Next best thing, we have a freezer. So the gun is going in the freezer next to the pecans for 1 hour. And
frozen pecan test.
Frozen pecan test, and thanks to the magical power of video editing, the gun will be done in now. Alright. So, right next to the pecans. Ooh, that's chilly. Woo! That's icy. Oh, that kind of hurts to hold. So, you can actually see it's kind of stiff. Ooh, that's cold. Holy crap. Let's go shoot this real quick. It's cold.
Oh man, that is really
icy. Alright, let's go shoot.
It does look very, very cold.
Alright, enough playing around. Let's shoot this thing. Is it going to cycle? Because I think maybe the water might have locked it up a little bit. We try to get as much water out of it as possible, but I don't know. So
I think I have faith. Right. I think it'll work.
Woo! It got one round off, but then it I don't think it cycled. Hang on, let's run it a few times. Okay, try it again. Now, the thing about CO2 is it performs better in cold weather than green gas, but oh.
Well, that was interesting.
That's not happened before. Ooh, that's ice cold. Oh my god. You actually can see that. That's actually, oh god. Whew. That's freezing. That's freezing.
Yeah, that's enough to give you freezer burn. Like,
yeah. Oh god, that's ice cold.
Yeah, like my finger is literally sticking to it.
Yeah. Oh my god, that's ice cold. Okay, is there still CO2 in here, I wonder? Yeah.
Yes, there is.
We still got CO2 in here, but it's so cold there's like no pressure on it. We're gonna keep going. Not quite. So I think this thing has gotten so cold to the point where it's actually frozen up the mechanisms in it. Like, if you look, there's actually ice forming on the surface of it. It's so cold. But look at that. See, I can see that.
That's crazy.
That's crazy. So I don't think it's functioning anymore. Actually, so that's interesting to note. I wonder if there's any like chemists in the comment section down below that can explain to us what's happening with this, because this is interesting. We froze it to about 0 degrees Fahrenheit for about an hour. All right. Warmed up a little bit. Let's keep going. Nope. So we either messed something up in the magazine. Ooh. We actually may have used all that CO2 up. Tell you what, let's go ahead and throw another CO2 cartridge in there real quick. And see what happens if we throw a new CO2 cartridge in it and see if it runs still. I think the errors of the gun were mainly contributory to the CO2 cartridge getting so cold. We've loaded a new cartridge. That old one may have been going dead too. We loaded a fresh one. Let's see. I think we got about 8-ish, 9 rounds in there. Let's give it a shot. Here we go. Flawless. It's still leaking a little bit.
Yeah, I think the mechanism is freezing open.
If you hear it, it's hissing out a little bit. So whatever happened when you froze this magazine to the levels it did, it kind of messed it up internally.
So the gun can stay cold.
The gun functioned.
The gun can stay cold, but it's the magazine that gives us the issue.
Right. So maybe
I guess it's from super cooling that CO2.
Yep. The gun itself mechanically functioned basically flawlessly. We had no failures.
Like no hang-ups. It was all to do with the magazine.
It was all things to do with the magazine, and it's hissing right now. The CO2 cartridge is inserted correctly. It's tightened down all the way. Yeah, that's tightened all the way. So what I'm thinking is maybe it froze over those O-rings a little bit, and maybe that's what's causing the malfunction. I don't know. It could be wrong, but you can hear it. It's hissing a little bit. So freezing that mag to the temperatures that did have actually kind of messed it up a little bit. So there you go. There's your problem. So maybe you pop a new magazine in there, gun runs. What's actually interesting is despite we got as much water out of this gun as possible before we froze it, but despite all that, it actually still ran flawlessly, and it managed to lock back open and everything too. So I think that's I think that'll about conclude it, guys. So once again, guys, thank you all for watching. Ooh, let me get this off. Thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed. If you enjoyed this kind of content, please be sure to leave a like down below and let us know what you think of it in the comment section down below. And if you guys enjoy this, maybe we'll do this test with some other guns. Maybe we'll do some AEGs. Maybe we can get a gas blowback rifle and do something like this. If you got any suggestions for how we can improve this or anything else you'd like to see, again, let us know in the comment section down below, and we'll try to accommodate you guys and try to make some content for you guys that you really would enjoy and find useful. But again, guys, thank you all for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.
See ya.